Hi there, I'm Paul, reporting about the Philippines from my home base in Belgium. It's hard for me to imagine that this is already the 5th episode of the Expat Files. But did you know that when I started my channel in March 2020, I had no intention whatsoever of making videos about the Philippines? No. All I wanted to do was make 5-minute tourist videos about different locations in Belgium and surrounding countries. And believe me or not, these are still my core videos. Even if Belgium is not on your bucket list, it's a nice country with beautiful scenery, an abundance of medieval castles, food that will give you a gastronomic orgasm, over 1,600 different beers, and the best blimey chocolate in the world. I will put a link to my Belgian playlist at the end of this video, so you can have a look if you're interested. And somewhere halfway this episode, I will insert a preview with scenes from different locations. The song you will hear with this interlude was composed and performed especially for my channel by Fern Stosco, whom you may remember for her participation in The Voice Philippines. So you see that even when I'm doing videos about Belgium, my thoughts still stray to the country that was once my home away from home. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. The first roosters awaken and want us to do the same. By 5 a.m., the sun has risen and people are already cooking food. A new day has dawned and everyday life starts on this beautiful archipelago. But what about all those expats who live here? Do they also rise that early? Or do they run like madmen to catch all the roosters in the neighborhood and turn them into a delicious coq au vin? And how do they spend the rest of their day? I asked them and made a selection of their stories. A first expat says his day starts with coffee in bed. What an exemplary wife he must have. Then he mentioned something about a bedroom activity that we do not talk about in a decent vlog. After that, he goes back to sleep until he smells food cooking, gets up, has a shower, eats, and has a few smokes while watching the farmers work off his deck. At 5:30 p.m, his girl mixes him a cold drink. Looked like she's home trained. During the day, he might go for a short walk to his in-laws and drink some more. Between 9:30 and 10:30, he turns in for the night, as there are no bars in the province where he lives. But not every expat is retired and can spend his days being lazy. One of them says he mostly works pretty long hours nowadays, but when he just moved to the Philippines, he felt like a tourist and went out many days per week. Another one says he works daily, and in the evening his 3 kids keep him busy. The next morning, work calls again. In the weekend he goes to the beach or tries to keep the kids busy with something else than their iPad. A British expat says, "When I'm working, the maid wakes me up at 4 a.m. with a cup of coffee. After I shower, I have breakfast served to me. Then I say goodbye to the wife and the little one. The driver collects me and I'm off to work. After work, the driver brings me home again. I hug the wife and jump into the pool with the little one. Then I soak in a hot tub, have dinner prepared and served to me, and enjoy a few beers by the pool at our own home bar. In the UK, I cannot afford all of this. Here I live like royalty and love every minute of it, even after 10 years. And all of that on modest money." The Filipino wife of an Australian describes how her husband wakes up midday, has fresh oats and coffee for brekkie, I'd be inclined to call that lunch, has a shower, plays with their daughter for a while, packs his things and goes off to the gym. On the way there he stops over at Starbucks for 2 shots of Americano. After spending 3 hours at the gym, he goes to McDonald's to eat a quarter-pounder burger. A man must keep up his strength. Then he will visit their kiosk at the mall, chit-chat with some customers and staff, then go to the supermarket to buy things for dinner or buy Amdocs chicken if he's too tired to cook. He is the cook in the family and does the dishes too. The rest of the evening he will just watch Netflix or YouTube or something like that. An expat with a healthy sense of humor says, "I get up early, so I have some me time, enjoying coffee and watching channels with some real content. Then I escape for a 50-minute bike ride before my wife starts watching closely everything I do. We plan the menu for the 7 people who are now in my house, and I take my wife shopping to make sure she stays within budget. After having an early lunch and siesta, I take the dogs for a walk. Upon my return, I make some real coffee and study some Tagalog. Somewhere in between all of this, I ask my wife why she is shouting at her parents on the phone. Yesterday it was because her father couldn't find one of his shirts. At 4 p.m. I have a pre-dinner drink with nuts. I drink red wine because I know the rest of the family won't ask for some. Dinner is at 5 p.m. with another glass of wine. I have one final glass before going to bed with my wife, where she becomes sweet and human again, as she doesn't have to deal with her crazy family. Before moving on to the next story, I will keep the promise I made in the intro and let you listen to the voice of Filipina singer Ferns Tosco while enjoying some views of my home country.
Come and trouble the world with me, my love. All I ever do is walk on the sand. Hang all the mountains, sail the ocean, and feel free, and be free. Come on, come on, come on.
a fantasy and science fiction author with multiple disabilities and a baby on the way, says he's not sure he has a typical day, except to say that writing for an upcoming mobile game happens at some point in the day. On Saturdays there's Dungeons and Dragons with Filipino friends who live in the same compound. He concludes, "I think most of us probably had boring lives. My wife has been a little bit too exciting at times in the past. So I'm okay with a bit of boredom now." Another expat summarizes his day as follows: get up at 5, pet the dogs, make coffee, feed the ducks, wake the bird, watch the sunrise together, wake the kids, make breakfast, and then all go to the beach for a swim. Then it's off to school for the kids, and I'm in my hammock relaxing. I wonder if his wife was also a little too exciting in the past. An expat who is still going through his spending phase says, "I have just spent every dollar I had on building my dream house and buying a car. We are now in the process of painting the house, which is a big job for the two of us. But my partner and I love doing it. We put a concrete roof out in the back with view of the ocean. We call it our beer garden, and it gets used a lot as I don't mind a cold beer or two. Right now I just finished my coffee and biscuits upstairs, and I'm loving my retirement." Actually, every day is a different one. Someone else says, "Nothing is a routine here. I live across the road from the beach, so I take a swim, which is recommended for my back. I work around the yard and build my house within 400 square meters. I'm the architect. My plan is to build 300 square meters, and I have already done half of it, so I still have a big yard at the moment. Shrubs and vines grow very fast if I don't trim them down at least once a week. I also made a work shed where I do carpentry. I bought many mahogany trees, as many as I could get my hands on. Back home, mahogany is considered the best kind of wood, but here, nobody seems to know much about it. They sold it to me at 27 pesos per cubic feet first time, but then figured out it is valuable to me and raised the price first to 32 and then to 35 pesos. Everything in my house is mahogany now. I made my bed Korean style, closets, windows, doors, chairs and sofas, tables and benches, and the entire kitchen. All in mahogany. That guy is certainly keeping busy." Another expat describes his day as follows: wake up, 3 coffees, 5 cigarettes, go to the laptop, breakfast, laptop or go somewhere, lunch, laptop or go somewhere, dinner, go to sleep. Go somewhere can mean get groceries or other things, take care of the kids, meeting, etc. I also prepare 75% of the meals. My wife does 90% of the laundry and cleaning. I'm looking forward to gardening soon, and in between I always give my love to the ones dear to me. What an exemplary family man. And here's another one. He says, for me, my days are spent serving my family and members of my household to the best of my ability. My time is spent with them and other Filipinos. I don't go out of my way to meet or spend time with other foreigners. Another expat loves nothing more than going to the local market by bike and eating at the market eatery, where he pays 46 pesos for soup, main course, and a small soft drink. Then he buys some fresh meat and vegetables. He does that early morning, which he considers the best time for shopping. In the middle of the day, he likes to visit the spa for a massage 3 times per week. And once a week, he goes to SM for a movie. As we approach the end of this episode, keep watching because there's still a very nice story coming. This is the time when I want to thank all of the expats who contributed to this episode of the Expat Files, as well as the viewers who enjoyed watching. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, say something nice in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I kept the longest story for last, but I kinda liked it. This guy says, well, Paul, my average day is fairly simple, being in a rural area. I rise about 5 a.m. to feed my 11 cats, sitting at the bedroom door, waiting for their food. Then I have coffee and breakfast, and after opening up my Sari Sari store, I start checking emails, social media, etc. I spend about an hour or two replying and posting. On certain days I have delivery trucks arriving for beer and soda supplies. If it's cool enough, I do a little gardening or some household tasks such as laundry, sweeping floors and yard, remove cobwebs, etc. All day long I serve any customers that come to shop or eat snacks I cook for them, and occasionally a few guys who come and sit on the forecourt and drink as they have no work to do. Around 10 a.m. it is morning merienda. Coffee and cookies, or maybe a slice of cake I have baked. Then I have a rest in a lounge chair to read for a while and sometimes doze off. Other days, when there are no deliveries, I may ride my motorcycle 10 kilometers to the nearest town to pay bills, buy food and other products for the shop, myself and the cats. I start the evening meal around 4:30 p.m, feed the cats between 5 and 5:30 and have my own evening meal. Early evening is usually the busiest period in the shop, with people wanting food items for their meals and usually guys coming for beer or alcohol to drink and while away the evening at home or with friends. I close at 5 p.m. and lock the front security gates. Then I shower and retire to read a book for an hour or so before I sleep. Occasionally, I will take a day off or two and go and extend my tourist visa Have a break overnight somewhere different, or maybe take the in-laws for a drive to another province. I should actually say ex-in-laws, since my wife and I are separated. But she and I are still friends, and her family still treats me as one of them. That's why I don't think of them as exes. I still attend family and other community gatherings over food and drinks and the inevitable karaoke. It's not the most exciting lifestyle, but just pure simple pleasure and hospitality, which I think in my 70s is exciting enough for me. What a story. What a nice life. I want to end with the advice of another expat who says, take your time to go somewhere and enjoy always. Well, I think most expats in the Philippines are doing just that. After reading all these stories of people who have found their new life in this tropical paradise, I like to reminisce about the days that I was also part of it. Then I imagine the early sundown and, finally, the day coming to an end. Time to go to bed and get some sleep. That is, unless people next door are keeping you awake with their karaoke. Sundan mo naktanaw ang buhay. Don't allow that to get on your nerves, but follow Monty Python's advice. All wise look on the bright side of life. The amplified voice of your neighbor will certainly cover up any embarrassing bedroom noises you might be making. So, full speed ahead. Good night, everybody.